You said earlier, Shady, we're going to find more excuses to discredit Jalen Hurts. And you're absolutely right. I can't wait to find another one. You are. I can't wait. Look.
Hurts needs a strong 2026 campaign to silence the boo birds and naysayers and perhaps save his head coach's job, if not his own. Hurts has seen firsthand in Philly how this could all play out. Oh, my goodness.
I think that when the fair part is that just because you're a champion doesn't mean that we get to ignore everything you do subsequently. Mm-hmm. You still have other seasons to play. We don't get to live in the past. The fact of the matter is you won a Super Bowl championship a couple of years ago. It wasn't last year. Last year we watched 17 games played. We watched you be a shell of what you were at times.
Stop the motherfucking pack. Yo.
Shall I begin? Pussy niggas get served. Another bridge to burn. Either live or you learn. Digits get earned. Off the head top, it ain't perm. Never been the type to curl like Big Worm. Catch your fade over your shoulder. Try to test my release. You get deceased. Smoke like the kush overseas from Middle East. No beast. I ain't touched that shit since 12 or 13. Ducking 12 from lurking while we skelling murk things. Kinda clock my life and still laughing most of the timeline. Try to come between me and Fetty, a fine line.
What is considered greatness? Is it the way that the greatness looks? Is it just achieving the greatness in general? It's so disingenuous, and I don't know if it's simply insecurity from people that might have thought that he wasn't going to do what he's done to this point, or if it's just a sense of the way that it looks that piss people off. But I'm just so tired of the same old conversation that's unfair, that doesn't hold the same weight as it holds when you're talking about other quarterbacks in the NFL. So, I did some research, ran some metrics, ran some data, and I'm just going to go through the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. And this is just regular season. I mean, if I did add postseason to it, it would only be 1 win extra. But in comparison to how ESPN, assessed the top 10 quarterback list, I'm just gonna go through the top 10 quarterbacks and so-called top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, and we'll see what the record is head to head. So Josh Allen, who's ranked number 1, he's 0-2 versus Jalen Hurts in his career. They played each other very early on. I believe it was like it might have been the 2021 season. Oh, no. I lied. The first time they played each other was the 2023 season, in that game where we were down 10. Jalen Hurts came back and we went 10-1 right before the collapse. It was a really good win right before the collapse. Yeah, and then last year we beat them in that close game. It was like 13-10 or something, like 13-12 or some shit like that, where they went for the 2-point conversion and they didn't get it. Patrick Mahomes, regular season playoffs against Hurts, he is 1-3. 1-3. Only got Super Bowl in 2022, where Jalen Hurts played arguably the best game of his career, and we came up short because our defense could not get Patrick Mahomes off the field at all in the second half. Stafford, 0-4 against Hurts. Joe Burrow, we honestly don't play the AFC North like that, so Joe Burrow and Lamar both 0-1 against him, and that was in the 2024 season, the year we won the Super Bowl. We beat both of those teams. Dak is number 6 on the list, 3-3, 500 against Hurts. Division rival. Those games go back and forth all the time. Now, Justin Herbert, 1-0 against Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts played a terrible game and still had a chance to win it late. And AJ Brown did sell, but Jalen Hurts did play a terrible game last year on that Monday Night Football game against the Chargers. I will have to say that. Justin Herbert, 1-0. Drake May, we haven't played the Patriots. Jared Goff, 1-2 against Hurts, and then Caleb Williams, 1-0 against Hurts. You know, the 270-yard rushing game from the Bears last year when, you know, Jalen Carter had hurt shoulders and we could not stop anything on the ground. So, I mean, dude, he outperforms. He beats the consensus elite tier QBs in head-to-head matchups. Like, that's evident. So, the moving of the goalposts happens when people say, all right, well, what about his defense? What about what he has around him? What about this? What about that? I hate that because of the simple fact that you get so much like, we're such a big topic of discussion that you get so many mixed opinions. It's hard to really get a consensus of who Jalen Hurts is and what this offense is truly, because on one hand of the conversation, you'll hear Jalen Hurts has to do more this year because the offensive line isn't gonna be great. AJ Brown is gone, so it is Devontae Smith a true number one wide receiver. Defense, they lost N'Kobe Dean, they lost Jalen Phillips, they lost a couple of people. Not putting in context that we replaced and replenished all those positions, by the way. But I say that to say that they come up with this right in August to kind of set up the narrative being set that, oh, okay, like the most pressure is put on Jalen Hurts to succeed. And I can go through that top 10 list. I mentioned the record, but we can go through this top 10 list, right? And I can name players with more pressure on this list than Jalen Hurts, in my opinion. Jared Goff, in my opinion, should be on the hot seat. Maybe he isn't, but he should be. Since he's gotten to Detroit, the furthest they went was the NFC Championship, where they lost a game that they were up. Granted, Dan Campbell, I mean, listen, the Lions, in my opinion, received the love that the Eagles should get from the national consensus, national media. In terms of, oh, this team's so together. They have a coach who's such a team guy, and he rides for his players. And they have they have this high-powered offense, great players, great skill players. And, like, the Eagles have all of the same things, but we don't get that just due in terms of, like, the head coach and the quarterback for I don't know what reason. I think Nick Sirianni's a better decision maker than Dan Campbell is. I think Jalen Hurts is a better decision maker than Jared Goff is. And I think Jalen Hurts is just a better player than Jared Goff, straight up. Jared Goff had a great season in 2024. He was in the race for, I believe, either league MVP or he was in the race. He had a really, really good season. But I just think Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback. Jalen Hurts has the intangibles. Drake May, it's still early to tell. He was the MVP runner-up last year. So we're just going to exclude Drake May for now. I think Drake May's a hell of a talent. But time will tell with him. Justin Herbert. I think this is where the line is drawn in terms of, and I didn't mention Caleb Williams because I still think Caleb Williams is also young, and I think that Caleb has the potential to make like a exponential jump from like 10 to where he is to like top 5 if everything goes well for him. But the thing with Caleb is he has to be consistent. That's the main thing with Caleb Williams. The talent is there. It's unquestionable, bro. The throws that he was making last year, only a certain few can make them. So I'm not going to sit here and act like Caleb Williams is not that dude, because he is that dude. But it's all going to come down to him taking that next step in terms of being a quarterback that's not going to make mistakes, and a quarterback that's also going to take more initiative in the offense and, at the line of scrimmage and just making plays versus using the run to set up, because teams are going to key in on that. I don't think the Bears are going to run the ball super duper duper great. You put different formations and different looks on tape enough, defensive coordinators will catch on to it, man. This is a fast-moving league, for sure, for sure. But Justin Herbert is the guy where I think, like, in terms of where people struggle with the whole Jalen Hurts thing, is you have a guy like Justin Herbert who has all the talent in the world, right? But he just doesn't have the it. He doesn't have the intangible part of it, the cerebral part of it. You get what I'm saying? All the talent in the world could be there. He just doesn't have that oomph to be like, yo, I'm not gonna let us lose. You understand what I mean? Poised. Being, and just being able to be like, I'm gonna win this game. And not forcing the ball in these tight windows. I think Justin Herbert is a victim to his own talent sometimes. I could say the same thing about Josh Allen, but I think Josh Allen over the last couple of years has gotten a lot better with that. But when I say that about Justin Herbert, I say that he's a victim to his own talent because he thinks he can make any throw. And in the playoffs, that costs him. You got multiple games where you got 2+ interceptions in playoff games. That's unacceptable for a guy of your caliber of talent. And the thing is with Jalen Hurts is he doesn't put up the godly numbers. He's not going to be a 4,500-yard passer. He's not going to be a 40 touchdown guy. And even if Jalen Hurts, I've been thinking about it a lot lately because I've been like really like salty about this shit. To be honest with y'all, it's at a point where I go on X and every single day there's just a new spin to it, dog. And it's like, just can't wait till we can start playing football and actually watch and see how it unfolds. And then we can talk about it then. But until then, man, I just wish that people would shut the hell up about it because at the end of the day, he's a champion already. He's been an All-Pro already. He was an MVP runner-up, and if he didn't miss those 2 games because of the injury going into the playoffs, he would have won the MVP. Hell, he would have probably threw for 4K. So I get so upset. Just people don't contextualize things. They look at the numbers, and then when you try to bring the advanced numbers, where the touchdown to interception ratios, the advanced passing metrics, the passer ratings, they just say, oh, well, then he's just carried by his team. He just has great players around him that like, no, shut the fuck up. Because at the end of the day, the fucking great fucking quarterbacks that dudes gas the fuck up got great players around them too. The Eagles ain't the only great fucking team in the league. That shit pisses me the fuck off, bro. The Philadelphia Eagles are not the fucking they're not God mode team above everybody else, bro. You still gotta lace this shit up. You still gotta throw them fucking pads on, and you still gotta ball the fuck out. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? Otherwise, why not? Why don't we just go to the Super Bowl and just crown us now? I get so fucking pissed off at the people that just are so disingenuous. Like, and the thing is, with the media, rather fair or unfair, rather fair or unfair. Rather fair or unfair. It's like they gotta force it. They gotta fucking force it because this is what generates clicks now. As a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles, sometimes I feel manipulated, bro. I feel straight up manipulated by the media. They put out content. They know how emotional we get over our birds. They know how emotional we get, emotionally attached to our players we get. We get so invested. Like, look at this AJ Brown shit. We got fans online right now that are literally posting every camp clip of, like, any mistake they can find him making just to be like, you see? He's good. You see how he's going to be for y'all? You see how he's going to be? I wish AJ Brown the best of luck. Yeah, you was on some, borderline bitch shit out here, like. But at the end of the day, I still respect you. I still respect your decision. You did what you have to do, but kick rocks. You're not on this fucking team anymore. I'm just tired of everyone is trying to, and you know what? They tried to do the same thing in 2024, bro. It's like that little bit of toxicity, any toxicity from the previous season, that little bit of just anything that can stir some negative context to something. And it almost fucked us up in 2024, y'all. It almost fucked us up when we started off 2-2. Because you know what? We started off that season feeding into everything that everybody was fucking saying to us. When we hired Kellen Moore, we got to throw the ball more. We can't depend on the run to do this. We can't do this. We can't do that. And guess what? It took Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata in the offensive line going into fucking Sirianni's office and saying, yo, we can be really fucking good if you just go back to doing what we do best. 2,000-yard rusher Super Bowl. So, yo, this is probably like the most intense rant I've probably ever been on this channel. Like, and I just totally just got off topic because we were talking about Justin Herbert, but it's just like, god damn, man. You know what I mean? Like, so there's a few key points based on this thing that I put together. I put together a little metric with Gemini on, reasons to argue the point of Jalen Hurts being in the top 10 versus these guys, right? Dominance in head-to-head versus the top 5. Like I said, Jalen Hurts holds an 11-2 record against the top 10 quarterbacks in the league. Playoff pedigree. Outside of Mahomes and Stafford, there ain't no other QB in the 8 that's ranked ahead that's won a Super Bowl other than Hurts. Or none of them in the top 10 have won them than Mahomes and Stafford. And a lot of them don't even have championship game appearances. Red zone efficiency. I guess this Jalen Hurts, they're gonna say he's a tush push merchant because of this, but obviously Jalen Hurts is very efficient in the red zone, and he outdoes guys like Goff and Herbert in the red zone. And outside of Josh Allen, he's the most dominant goal line scoring threat we notice in the postmodern NFL history. And he said, and listen, they said outside of Josh Allen. So all this about Jalen Hurts just only scores off the tush push. Well, Josh Allen also only scores off QB sneaks then too. I guess Josh Allen never fucking scrambles for touchdowns either, dog. So I just want y'all to know that going forward, I don't think I'm going to talk about the Hurts narrative anymore in terms of like just being negative Nancy on it. I think I'm just going to move on in terms of like talking about what the media says about Jalen Hurts. I have a fucking headache, bro. And this is the last video I'm going to make on this shit. Straight up. I do want to talk about training camp. I do want to talk about a few things that's been happening this week that I'm really loving. Dontavian Wicks is the wide receiver 2 on this team, y'all. There ain't no other way to put it. I'm going to give you 2 reasons. I'll give you 2 reasons. I was going to give you 3, but I'm kind of iffy on the third one. I'm going to give you 2 reasons why he's the wide receiver 2. First and foremost, he's working his ass off in camp, and he's playing hard, and he's making some spectacular catches. And he's building rapport with Jalen. And then the reason number 2, just got to put it straight. Availability is the best ability. And Mekhi Lemon has been out. And if he's not there to get those reps and somebody else is taking those reps, it is what it is, man. You're going to have to earn it back throughout the season. And that's not to say that Mekhi Lemon ain't gonna get his. He's gonna get his, but I think going into camp, I think a lot of us kind of were going with the notion that Lemon would just be the guy. And there's been so much competition in that wide receiver room. I do love it. I am wondering, and leave a comment below if you think that the Eagles should make a move for another wide receiver. Shout out to Lord Brunson, one of the fucking GOAT YouTubers, Eagle YouTubers out here in the sphere. I was on his channel the other day, and he was saying that maybe we should go after someone like Keenan Allen to kind of give us depth. I was kind of on the other side of that, where though I agree we do need depth, I think we have the depth. If it's a matter of us just going out and getting a wide receiver and testing the market, why not use some draft capital that we have, because we have plenty of it, and why not go out and take a risk on a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. or a guy like Brian Thomas Jr.? Great, highly touted wide receivers coming out of college. BTJ had an excellent rookie year. Fell off the fucking cliff. I don't know what the fuck happened to him. Maybe it was a change of the offense with Cohen coming in. Maybe it's just, who knows? But I would love somebody like that. He kind of fits that AJ Brown mode in terms of build-up, but he's way faster than that. He's way fast. He's like in my opinion, BTJ that first year reminded me a lot of DK Metcalf. But if you could go out and get somebody like that for the low ski, and with both of those guys, you can pick up fifth-year options. They were first-round picks. So I'm just thinking more or less like, okay, yeah, they might cost a little bit against the cap. They were, high not high, but they were first-round picks. I think Marvin Harrison was a really high first-round pick, actually, when I come to think about it. So he'll probably be a little bit more expensive, truth be told. But that's the type of move that I'm thinking, like, okay, if you're going to upgrade this room, don't just upgrade it for depth, because at that point, I think the competition is here. If you're just going to rock with these guys, adding a Keenan Allen is great in terms of maybe helping out somebody like Mekhi Lemon develop, or maybe, a younger guy like Darius Cooper. But bringing in somebody like Marv or BTJ instantly upgrades your receiver room, and it raises your floor, if anything. Though I do foresee us being a solid receiving unit. I don't see us being top of the league, but I also don't see us being bottom of the league. I think we'll be somewhere from top of the list to middle. You know what I mean, on the better half. So I do like what I'm seeing out of Darius Cooper. I think Darius Cooper is making the most of every opportunity he's getting, because Smitty's been out and Lemon's been out. There's a lot of chatter online about should we have drafted somebody else over Eli Stowers. Be patient on Stowers, y'all. I think Stowers is a project. I think Johnny Munt is probably going to be the tight end 2 this year, and that's okay. That's okay. You don't draft first-round picks to sit the bench for a year, whatever. You don't do that. I think the only reason that we decided to draft Jahad Campbell last year is because we really did have a need that first half of the year. Without knowing Kobe Dean, we needed to draft Jahad Campbell. And we knew Kobe was leaving the year after. You know what I mean? If it's a year spacing thing, then okay. This is kind of the same deal. Goddard is in his last year of his deal. Stowers is going to be the guy that's going to take over. And yes, Stowers needs to work on his blocking. He might need to work on some receiving stuff. He's a rookie. Not all rookies are going to be perfect. And maybe this class is having a slow start. Truth be told. We've kind of gotten spoiled as Eagles fans over the years of having great draft classes, like maybe we were overdue for having, like, I'm not going to say a total miss, but maybe we don't have as great of a draft class as we've had in years past. So be patient on them. It's training camp. You know, things are looking up. Defense is still balling out of control. Safety isn't as much of a concern for me as it was a couple weeks ago. Vic Fangio had nothing but great things to say about Michael Carter, Marcus Epps, Makuba, who's actually, they're saying Makuba's flying all over the field and he's been balling. Which coming, kind of an injury-riddled rookie season, coming off of that is like really encouraging to hear. Like I'm so happy to hear that Makuba is back in the mix and he's making plays because that's what he was at Texas. He was a freaking ball hawk. So we're going to be seeing a lot more of that this year. I'm excited about that. And if Michael Carter, we just need somebody to secure that safety spot. And I think Marcus Epps could do a great job at it too. So I'm not going to discredit Marcus. Marcus is at this point, he's a Eagles vet. But I just think if we don't upgrade there and they're comfortable with it, one of those two just has to be a solid, they don't gotta be world beaters, bro. They just can't make crucial mistakes at crucial points. And we'll be a top 5 to top 10 unit in the NFL easily with the corners that we got. Because if we don't gotta worry about having DeJean at safety in nickel in a nickel defense, we're Gucci. And he could just play nickel, we're Gucci. I do like the idea of the versatility that Michael Carter brings because Michael Carter has played nickel. So you can kind of interchange and play around and you can move Coop around like a chess piece a little bit. So I do like that. You know what I mean? The one thing I will say compared to last year, like with our safety room, is there's a bit more versatility compared to like what we had with like a Sidney Brown. So shout out to Howie, man, because and Vic, for kind of recognizing these things and letting it be known. That's one thing about Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio is always gonna let it be known of who's balling and who ain't balling. So I do think the D tackles have been balling. They've been saying Jalen Carter has been on another level. When you get paid money and you happy and that stomach full, you gonna hoop. You gonna ball out when you don't got no issues and you don't gotta worry. So I'm honestly expecting Jalen Carter to be an All Pro this year again, but I'm expecting to be numbers that reflect it where people aren't questioning him anymore either. If I had a prediction on a stat line for Jalen Carter for next year, this is my prediction: 7 to 7.5 sacks, probably anywhere between 25 to 30 tackles for loss, and probably 55 solo. I think that would be extremely successful season for someone like Jalen Carter. The main thing is that the pressures are up, the batted balls are up, everything is up, And I think with his durability, with his strength and conditioning, he'll be able to be on the field for a lot more snaps, and you're just gonna see a different Jalen Carter this year, man. He's gonna be a beast, bro. I think Moro Jomo has a lot to prove. He talked about the fact that these guys got their deals, that it's only motivating him, and he'll leave it up to his agent at the end of the year in terms of working out some long term extension. Something tells me, y'all, Moro Jomo takes a pay cut. Something tells me, where there might be, let's just say, I'm gonna give you an example. His market might be 23.5 million a year, and we might be able to give him 18.5 with incentives. I could see Moro Jomo sticking around and being that third DT for us. And to be honest with you, if we invest in it, I don't think it's a bad investment investing in 3 DTs. The way that Vic runs his system, the way that Jalen Carter's versatility can allow him to play on the outside in some sets, the way that we like to run 6-man fronts when we're really trying to stop the run, yes, I wouldn't mind it. Ty Robinson isn't it. I haven't heard any great things about Ty Robinson. When you're hearing about Uar Bernard more than Ty Robinson, it's a concern. Byron Young has been ahead of Ty Robinson on the depth chart as well. So we got to take these things into consideration, and I wouldn't mind extending Moro Ojomo. Like, if you really, today, August 6th, 2026, if you're asking me, you got 2 contracts right here that you're going to offer, and one of them is for Moro Ojomo and the other one's for Nolan Smith. I'm giving Moro Ojomo that contract. So there's going to be a lot of variables in terms of what we got to figure out with Moro Ojomo, but those things will work itself out. And I just have a feeling that Moro Ojomo will be here for another 2 to 3 years. But I'm going to let y'all go, man. It's your boy Zaho Facts. Like I said, man, this is a long ass video. I didn't even want to do this, like, in terms of going on a fucking crazy tangent of just splurting out stuff of, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it, but at the end of the day, I had to, because I was just getting tired of it, and I don't want to talk about it no more. Truth be told, I'm done with the whole having to prove that Jalen Hurts is fucking better than what people think he is. Just watch him ball out this year. And I'm going to talk my shit, too. If he wins fucking MVP and he goes the fuck off, I'm going to talk my shit.